Hi guys, this is Christian Spagnolo and I'm one of the guys behind this project, Razer Naga Chroma. After I posted this video, I had many comments good about this. So one of them asked me, especially Bishop Design, asked me the techniques behind this video. And I will show you just a few tips, few things I've done for this project, and especially how I have achieved this kind of result. This kind of, let's say, particle effect. It's not a particle system, but it seems so, and it's quite easy and pretty straightforward the way I've done this. It's not so easy, but it take me a couple of days to do the research and development to develop this effect in terms of what I want. So I will describe you why I've done this effect in this way and how I've done this. So the thing is, in the beginning, we were looking for something new. I mean, we with Com is a company in Singapore. They did all the motion graphic effect. They did the main idea, camera movement, animation, things like that. My main things on this project was to create this effect to model the entire mouse, because the Razer gave us the original CAD data file for this one. But most of the time, to develop some special effects like this one, you need to have a poly model of the product. So I've remodeled the entire mouse except for a couple of parts inside and things like that. But all gauges, buttons, and things like that are entirely remodeled in Maya, and with a combination of Maya 3ds Max and Topogan. Topogan for the base mesh, so I can remodel the base topological things on top of the CAD data, and then I went inside 3ds Max to do some other part of the model, and lately I went to finalize in Maya, because the pipeline was Maya and V-Ray, because CAM work with the Maya and V-Ray, so I should end up with all those effects, all those things need to go straight inside Maya to be rendered with V-Ray. So the point was that the client asked, my client, that basically was CAM, asked me to create this, to make a bit of research and development, and to create this kind of a new cool way to build, to make the creation of the object. So something like, okay, we have some sort of particle effects that build this mouse. So I do a little bit of research inside internet, and I came into this really cool script plugin that is basically for Macs. So as soon as I had a look at this script, I soon realized that was a good one that create this kind of procedural animation on this object. And it was really cool when I realized that this was just a script to do this, and you ended up with something like this. Especially this one was what I was looking for, and I was like, oh yeah. And it's the cool things about this plugin is that it's not a particle effect. The problem with the particle effect is that if you have to go from a software to another, first of all, I don't like so much the particle system inside Maya. So if I have to do some particles, I usually end up using particle flow in 3ds Max, because it's node based, it's more reliable on what I like. The thing is, using particles to export particles from one software to another, you need to make particles to become mesh, and then export those mesh as a cached file, like Alembic file, or using Xform, that is a plugin from, if I remember well, Chaos Group. By the way, I was not looking into particles, but I was looking at something that can create an animation on the transformation, rotation, and scale node. Because if you have this kind of animation on an object base, you can export this animation as a simple animation. It's not a cached animation or things like that. It's something that you can scale and animate an object, scale, rotate, and animate the node, the translation and scale and rotation node, and you can export those information directly inside Maya from 3ds Max using the send to button. So it's pretty straightforward procedure. So what I was looking for was something like that. So this plugin basically drive the animation, rotation, and scale node using a simple map. So you assign a map to an object. As you can see here, you're going to assign a map, a ramp basically, to an object. And as soon where the black and white, it goes basically, the transformation goes from this side to another. And so you can define different parameters on how you want the animation. I don't want to describe this plugin in depth, but the idea was, okay, I can create this kind of effect just with a simple map on top of an object. I can create those chunks, and I can export those chunks with a translation, rotation, and animation. And so I ended up that one was my main tool. And also the cool thing is it's extremely cheap. It's €5. So I bought the plugin and I started to use it. And I've done a couple of tests. And I realized that it worked for me. The problem was that I need to, let's say, where's the video again? I could use directly the model that I have remodeled in Maya and use this one, split the model using these quote chunks and do the animation using directly those chunks. But as soon as the main feature of the main pattern used by Razer is always this hexagonal pattern, the camp company asked me, do you think it's possible to create this kind of effect using the hexagonal pattern? And I say, why not? I can try to do this. So from the research and development, in a couple of days, I ended up with something like, with this nice script. It's an honeycomb script. I've created a plane full of this honeycomb mesh. So I have those hexagonal pattern, exactly what I want. But the problem was, how can I apply this hexagonal pattern to my mouse? So there were different solutions. I ended up, I think, okay, I can make the hexagonal pattern to warp around the object and things like that. But whatever I tried, the small hexagon start to deform in certain situations. So I think out, okay, what if I can make this shape flat? I can cut out the shape from this hexagonal pattern, and then I can wrap the shape again in a 3D model. And so I started to think about how I can do this. So basically I said, okay, I know that in a way, there's a way for sure that we can convert this model to the flat version that I've done using the UV. So first thing first, I made the UVs, and I made the less deformed UV possible. So I used the standard unwrap system. If I remember well, directly inside 3ds Max. I don't remember if Max or Maya, but it doesn't change at all. So I made the less deformed UV that you can create. So it was a flat version of this model, a flat version of the side model, and things like that. So I created just a simple UV, a flat version of the UV. And I ended up with something like this. To do this, to do the conversion between the 3D model and the flat version of the model, I used another script that is a flat UV model by UV, and this one is for Maya. If I don't remember exactly, it was a couple of months ago, but I think that I've tried to use something for 3ds Max, but it doesn't work well. So I've done these things directly inside Maya, and then I imported the model inside 3ds Max. But yeah, you can find a solution to how to flatten your model in this way. So basically, I flattened the model in this way. It was the flat version of my model. Let's see. Okay. This one was the hexagon pattern. You can do a Boolean operation between this model and this model, and you can create basically just the inside part of this model. I'm not going through this process, but it's pretty easy. So you can use this one to cut out this one, and you ended up having basically this one. Okay. So you're gonna have this at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this is just the flat version of my model. I've cut it out the shape that I want. So basically I have created a flat version of this model with an hexagon. And then it comes the fun part. The thing is, okay, now I have to make this one go back to the original shape. It's pretty straightforward because this model has exactly the same vertices and exactly the same ID of this model, but this is just the flat version. So you just need to do a blend shape. Let's say in 3ds Max it's a morpher. So basically you can do a morpher. So I've just keyed the morpher. So you transform the flat version and again the 3D version. So now I have this. And how I can do this to go there? Again, easy. There's a modifier inside 3ds Max that can give you the chance to drop a model on top of another model. So I can use the 3D model, the 3D poly model, the flat version of the 3D poly model that is animated with a morpher, to being skin dropped by the hexagon pattern. So I go to the hexagon pattern, basically, and I say, okay, I can use a skin drop. Skin drop modifier is a modifier that allows you to attach one object on top of another, especially these two objects are exactly the same object, are flat. So the skin object is basically following the flat version of the same piece. And again, for this one is the same, and for this one is the same. And boom, this one will transform the object in this one. So now you have your full object done with hexagon pattern. And so this was my first main goal, because I have to do the 3D model made my the hexagon pattern. So I ended up with this. The last things I've done to make things works in the best way possible was to separate all those different hexagon pieces in elements, in objects, sorry. So this one was basically elements. So I have detached all those small elements in object, and it was done easily using another script. So don't forget that internet is pretty great and you can do whatever you want. So this one goes to the touch element. So every single piece was an object. And then at the end of the day, I could use this effect, this plugin, this script to animate all those small chunks. And I've done a couple of R&D with those things. So just to make the effect be approved by the client. So that one was the main, my first main test. So basically it was with a gradient. I've just applied the shader with a gradient on top of this, so from black to white or white to black, I don't remember. But was the animation was done like this. And I've exported this one to test directly inside Maya. So every one of these, as you can see, is just animations, that's just key. So if you use the send button, send to Maya, it goes directly to Maya with the same name, same things, and everything. So that's all. And the last things I've done was working on the scene, on the right camera, so to create the effect as I wanted directly in the scene. And the last things I've done was to also create a shell modifier. And on top of the shell modifier, I've also added a little bit of inset around the object face. That's because we want to have control later on this kind of effect that we have done later. So I want to have the full control on the shading, and as you can see, this small glow effect around the object as soon as it's starting to connect to the other, the glow effect disappear, and it's all done using this kind of shading that I've done, simple shading that I've done. So the idea behind this is to create all the things possible to make life easier for the other people that are working on this project. So again, I've done just a simple shell. The inside material and the back material were assigned to a flat blue. This kind of border was green and the one was red. So whatever we do inside Maya later, we can do exactly the same effect using this kind of IDs on top of the faces. And that's all. Every scene on this project was done in the same way. So started with just a simple hexagon pattern, and then I've done the building using the Break-and-For plugin, and then I've exported easily inside Maya. I've sent to Maya, and the scene was exactly the same in Maya. So this one was directly imported from 3ds Max. So as you can see, nothing different. Same shader, same thing. So you can reapply the shaders if you want by the selection. So I think I said everything. Again, it's not super complicated at the end of the day. It took me a couple of days to figure it out, this R&D, how to develop it and how to make it work like we want. Because again, the main thing is you need to create something that works for your pipeline and that project. So for this project, I had this kind of input that I have to respect. So I need to create this sort of effect. It needs to be not a particle effect, but an animation based on rotation, scale, and movement, and could be exported in Maya. So that's one was my main point, and this is how I've done it. So again, simple object, modeled, and then I've done the flat version of the model, and then I've used this flat version to cut out from the original hexagon pattern. And then once I've cut it out from the original pattern, I have used the skin wrap modifier to wrap it again on the 3D model. And then when I've done this one, I have detached by element. And then when I've detached by element, I've used the Break-and-For plugin to just create the effect for the animation, as you can see in this scene. So that's all. I hope this one was useful. I hope everything is clear now. Again, if you have any other comments, please let me know. Enjoy. Thank you very much.